We're going to do something a little different today, kids. I've done my fair share of complaining about The Last Jedi on this channel. If you know me, you know I was not a fan of that film. I hated pretty much everything about it from a story perspective. There's no question that it's beautifully shot and edited, and the music's superb and everything else is great. The production is flawless. It's just that story just doesn't rub me the right way. Didn't rub a lot of people the right way. Instead of dwelling even more on what went wrong, let's talk about how the people that love The Last Jedi and the people that hated it can come together in some sort of a marriage for this 9th and presumably final chapter to the Skywalker saga. If you follow a bunch of these nerdy Star Wars channels or a bunch of these bullshit channels that say, we know what's going on in Episode 9 and all the clickbait crap that goes along with that, you're maybe not going to like this. I myself am not what I would consider a hardcore Star Wars fan. In fact, if Episode 9 never came out, I would lose zero sleep on it. In fact, I'd almost prefer if it didn't come out the way that Disney's kind of handled this property. But it's going to happen. So I would like to see it end on a high note. Little backstory. I really like the original 3 films, and I hate the prequels. I saw them in the theaters. I waited in line for like 10 hours to see the first one. The second one was worse. The third one was definitely a step up, but at that point the damage was already done. But we're kind of at that again for me with this new trilogy. I really did like Force Awakens. I understand it's just a soft reboot of A New Hope, but I thought that was appropriate for where we were at in the Star Wars world. And it definitely set up a lot of interesting ideas and concepts, JJ's mystery box mentality, that going into Episode 8, we would have something fresh and new. Instead, we kind of had the exact same thing, but in more of a trolling sense. The whole subverting expectations. Like, oh, the fans wanted this to happen, but we're going to do this instead. All of the subverting really puts you in the same box as the previous ones did, ironically. You didn't get what you wanted, but you're ending up in the same place at the end, where it's the good versus the bad, it's Rey versus Ren. Today I propose a way to kind of marry the subverting expectations that people seem to like and the more common thread of good versus evil in Star Wars Episode 9. Once more, I fully understand that none of this is probably going to be the route that JJ goes, and that's fine. I'm just saying what I think would work really well for the final chapter and would get me back on board as a Star Wars, Star Wars fan. Episode 9 opens, title crawl. Episode 9, call it whatever you want to call it. Luke Skywalker has saved his father Anakin by defeating Darth Vader. Yeah, it's a little bit of a clever sentence right out of the gates. Wait, they're the same person. Are they? Are they the same person? No, Luke defeated the evil part of his father, brought that true self back out right in the final moments before he inevitably died. Camera pans down from space, as is tradition, to the very place we left, the Return of the Jedi. I think it'd be cool to take it from a different perspective, get some body doubles in there for Hamill and the dad, and we see what happens directly after the fallout here. After the Emperor's been taken down, we go to Snoke. Snoke learns of the deaths of Darth Plagueis and Darth Vader. He's on a different ship close by. He's seen it all via some sort of a hologram, or maybe he's just given the intel from a stupid bad robot or something. Bad robot, J.J. Abrams pun. What I think would be extremely fascinating, and definitely would subvert expectations for you fans of that, would be to do Episode 9 from the perspective of the First Order, aka the Empire, aka the Sith. This would also give critical backstory to Snoke, who up until this point had none. He somehow rose out of the ashes of the Empire, amassed a giant army, and undid everything that took place in those first 3 movies. It dismantled all the work that was done by Luke and Han and Leia, and this would definitely bridge that gap. It would get some of the confusion out of the way, some of the frustration that fans had, thinking, how did this happen? It doesn't matter how the original Emperor came to be, because it was already there. We're jumping into the middle of a war. But that war is over, so how did Snoke rise up? Well, it turns out, we find out in this, Snoke has always been there. He's the big boss, and he knew this was going to happen. He foresaw it. So when he hears this news, he's just kind of like, okay, well, let's move on with our plan. Then they head over to the Starkiller base that they've been constructing. It can be under construction. Because we have to remember, Return of the Jedi is, what, 30 years before the events of Force Awakens. So we have 30 years of ground to cover. this can be handled in a very fun way, a very exciting way. We can see glimpses as we jump through time quickly. We can get some epic montages. One thing Star Wars, the movies. Keep in mind, I'm just a moviegoer. I don't watch the cartoon, I don't read the novels and whatever other shit they put out that's, I'm not even sure it's canon anymore. But from the movie's point of view, they never did a good job of showing you exactly what the Empire was, exactly why they were bad. We always thought, okay, they're kind of this Nazi regime that's controlling people, but how? In this, we could see the First Order knocking down doors, pulling families out, capturing children, putting them into the First Order program, assimilating them to their way of thinking. We could get some great insight into that, and it would also bridge the Finn gap. I thought Finn in Force Awakens was by far the most interesting character, or he had the most potential. We have a soldier who's jumped out of the ranks and he's ready to fight for the good guys. I want to know what the hell happened with him when he was in there. I want to know what they did to him. And this would give us that insight from the perspective of the First Order. Another reason I know Disney would never do this is because Rey is obviously the star of this thing. The problem is I have no interest in her anymore. Force Awakens gave me that interest when they gave her the mysterious past with the parents and the special abilities, the strong connection to the Force, the way she can pilot a ship like Luke, the way that she could basically do everything a Master Jedi could do without any training. And then Rian Johnson just said, no, I don't like any of that. I'm not interested in that. The Force is magic. It's something that's strong when it needs to be strong. And for all intents and purposes, it is what it is. So I don't care about that either, Rian Johnson. So let's not spend any time on Rey. She'll be there. She'll be awesome. She'll be kicking ass. But there's no more story to tell. As far as I'm concerned, there's nothing to tell there. So let's get Kylo Ren front and center in this one. Let's make him the one, because he really is the interesting aspect of these movies now. Finn was downgraded to kind of a slapstick person. Poe was completely downgraded to an ass. And Leia, I don't know what they're going to do with her. She's somehow still alive. Good luck with that. We have this first maybe dedicated half hour, 45 minutes even, I don't care, let's go for broke on this thing, of showcasing what the Empire is, the First Order, how they've continued to take out planets around them and build this Death Star 2.0 in secret. Well, I guess it's 3.0. They've already had two. Death Planet. Kylo Ren really is the key to this. J.J. Abrams established in the first movie with him that he's obsessed with Darth Vader. He wants to make his grandpa proud. He worships the guy. He idolizes the dude, presumably because he doesn't know he was tricked and he becomes good again at the end, or he just doesn't want to hear that side of the story. Perhaps Snoke told him that the Jedis were using mind tricks. It doesn't matter. The point is, he has an obsession with Darth Vader. That was interesting. It was completely removed in the last movie. Bring it back. Have him reconstruct that helmet. Have him go full-blown Vader. And because we're telling this from the perspective of the Sith, we get to see Kylo Ren spend some time. I don't know, I guess we can't do the whole parents thing because, well, we can. Hans and Harrison Ford's still alive, so maybe they can de-age his ass a little bit, throw him in for a scene or two, double carry, maybe a tad bit of parent interaction because that might be necessary, but the crux of this really falls on his time training with Luke and the Knights of Ren. We will bear witness to how Snoke has been working behind the scenes to master this puppet to get him to do his bidding. And this will really make Luke's actions in The Last Jedi seem a little bit more plausible when he goes into the tent to kill Kylo or think about killing him because he saw a vision. Here we can show that Kylo really was a piece of shit. He was doing bad things behind the scenes. He had his Knights of Ren going out and pillaging and plundering and murdering and doing all sorts of bad things. So that will all hit Luke like a ton of bricks. It gives him more reason, it gives him more purpose to want to strike him down in the dead of night. Plus, it gives us the opportunity to revisit that scene that was just completely abandoned in The Last Jedi from A Force Awakens, where we get the witness scene from the lightsaber of that rain sequence where Luke's outside facing the Knights. This would be an epic battle in the rain, fire in the background, Luke saving the village, the people around him, if there's any people there. I think there should be. From this point on, here's a deal breaker for me. I don't care how they do it. The Force has been played with a lot over the years, and definitely in The Last Jedi, so anything's possible now. But Luke Skywalker is one of two things. One, not dead. We saw him vanish on the rock, even his robotic hand for some reason. So maybe he just kind of warped into the spiritual world of the Jedi for a second. He got a glimpse. Maybe he's able to fade in and out of existence with some sort of higher up power that Jedi can get. Once more, I don't know all the ins and outs of the lore here, and I think that it doesn't matter. I think most of that's been washed away by Disney. So sure, screw it. Let him be able to jump between the spiritual world and the real world, do a little Avatar scenario. And this number 1 option also applies to Snoke, who, because we're taking things from the perspective of the First Order, we can see that Snoke knew early on, since this dude's powerful as all shit, Snoke knew he was going to be betrayed by his apprentice. He put the vision in the heads of Rey and of Kylo Ren that he died, that he got cut in half. He was never there. That whole thing, that was brain manipulation. It could be possible. Why not? He's able to communicate with them and make them see things from across the globe, from across the galaxy. Why not have him implant something that's not real? The reason they need to be alive for me is I absolutely must have the most amazing, most epic final battle in Star Wars history, with Rey and Luke teaming up against Snoke and Kylo Ren. Is this extremely cliche? Yes. Star Wars is extremely cliche. I've seen 6 Rocky movies, 7? Is there 6 or 7? 6. And 2 Creed movies. That's 8 movies. They are all exactly the same. They train, they get their ass kicked, they train, they win. Wash, rinse, repeat. It works. The template's there. Sure, sometimes the way you drive is different, but the destination's always the same. And that's once again what The Last Jedi was. People talk about how amazing it was that it tricked people into, by not giving them what they wanted. They led them down one way and then said, nope, we're doing something else. But you, with all the weaving and dodging and all the letdown for some, you still ended up in the very same place. Give a Luke-Rey combo against Snoke and Ren. It would be phenomenal. And I think it would go a long way for pretty much everybody involved. Option 2, even more radical than the first one, but still kind of ends the same way. Luke is dead, Snoke also dead. They're battling in the spirit world. The Jedi, the Force, spirit world, whatever the hell that is. Some people have said only the good go to the spirit realm and not the bad, or whatever this thing is. I don't really know. But to that I say that, well then why was Anakin, why was his Force ghost there? Why does he get a Force ghost? He was a dick. He was an ass for most of his life. Killed a lot of people. He killed little younglings. I do see there could be some imbalance in the Force though, and that includes the Force ghost. So why not have, in tandem with the Rey-Ren battle, the ghosts fighting? So we get a spiritual battle going on, coinciding with the real battle. This could be extremely cool, and I would love it. I would love if it was just bonkers insane. Might as well. You could have Yoda in there using Force lightning. Because remember, he can now manipulate real weather. That's a thing now that The Last Jedi has, which I don't understand why then he can't, Obi-Wan can't just show up at a First Order conference and just wipe the whole place out with a fucking volcano or a hurricane or a tidal wave. I mean, what's stopping that? And of course, this is all top level stuff. I didn't go into any of the themes. I didn't talk about any of the nuance. This isn't a script. This is just a template. This is just a way that they could tell a story in a more interesting way and still get kind of a fun outcome that I think most would enjoy, if not everyone. These are just my thoughts, which I also posted to Twitter a couple days ago. 6 people responded because nobody follows me on Twitter. I did think there would be some blowback. There was one person who I had quite a lengthy discussion with, back and forth tweeting. It was very civil. It was actually really fun. And that was the point of my channel all along, Adam Does Movies, with the Movie Feud stuff, is to debate movies, the pros and the cons, and do it in a civil way. Not just, you're a stupid idiot because you thought Aquaman was just mediocre, or you're a moron because you didn't like The Last Jedi, or you're not a real Star Wars fan if you like The Last Jedi. That's unacceptable. What are you talking about? It's just ridiculous stuff. Let's just have a fun debate. And we did. It was spirited, it was nice, it was well-rounded, and I think we both got a little bit from each other out of it. I appreciate that conversation, and I hope to have many more. So let's keep it civil in the comments if you can. And if you think this is a stupid idea, that's perfectly fine. I'm not the screenwriter. I'm just a guy on YouTube. But if anybody can be a Jedi, or if anybody can have the Force, is Force sensitive, then anybody can write a Star Wars movie. I think that's been established as well.